When we think about the history of the NBA, there's nothing more electric than a great rivalry. Some teams just clash with each other, creating unforgettable moments and heated battles. Today, we're diving into the top 10 NBA rivalries of all time. Let's get started, and stick around for the number 1 rivalry that changed basketball forever. Top 10 NBA rivalries. Starting off at number 10, it's the Bulls vs. Heat. This rivalry really picked up steam during the 2010s. Derrick Rose's Bulls faced off against the Miami Heat's Big Three, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Playoff clashes in 2011 and 2013 brought incredible intensity as Chicago tried to stop Miami's reign in the Eastern Conference. Though the Heat often had the upper hand, the matchups were always fierce. At number 9, we have a rivalry that defined the late 90s. Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets went head-to-head with Karl Malone and John Stockton's Utah Jazz. Playoff series between these two teams were always highly competitive, with clutch shots and incredible moments. Whether it was Malone's power or Hakeem's dominance in the paint, these teams fought hard to get to the finals. At number 8, we have the Indiana Pacers-New York Knicks rivalry. The late 1990s was defined by intense playoff battles, physical play, and unforgettable moments, particularly between Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing. Their clashes peaked in the 1999 Eastern Conference Finals, a grueling 7-game series that saw the Knicks advance. But it was Miller's iconic 8 points in 9 seconds during the 1995 playoffs that became the stuff of legend. Miller's trash talk, especially with Spike Lee courtside, added to the drama, making this rivalry one of the most heated and entertaining in NBA history. Number 7 takes us to the early 2000s, Lakers vs. Kings. The Kings were the team that nearly ended the Lakers dynasty before it even started. Their 2002 Western Conference Finals series is one of the most controversial and intense in NBA history. With Shaq and Kobe leading the Lakers, and Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, and Peja Stojakovic on the Kings, this matchup was filled with drama, including a legendary Game 7 overtime. At number 6, it's Warriors vs. Cavaliers. From 2015 to 2018, these two teams met in the finals 4 straight times. It was Steph Curry's Warriors against LeBron James' Cavs. The rivalry peaked in 2016 when LeBron led the Cavs to an unbelievable comeback from 3-1 down in the finals to win Cleveland's first NBA title. That iconic Kyrie Irving's Dagger 3, it was a rivalry for the ages. Number 5 brings us to the classic 76ers vs. Celtics rivalry. These two teams have been battling for Eastern Conference supremacy since the 1960s. From Wilt Chamberlain vs. Bill Russell to Julius Erving vs. Larry Bird, this rivalry has spanned generations. They've met in the playoffs countless times, with every series filled with intensity. This is a rivalry that never seems to go away. At number 4, it's Spurs vs. Mavericks. The Battle of I-35. Throughout the 2000s, Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki faced off in some of the most epic playoff series. These two teams had contrasting styles, San Antonio's discipline and defense versus Dallas' fast-paced, high-scoring offense. Their 2006 playoff battle was a classic, with Dirk leading the Mavs past the defending champion Spurs in a Game 7 thriller. Number 3 brings us to another heated rivalry, literally, Knicks vs. Heat. The 1990s gave us one of the most physical, intense rivalries in NBA history. These teams faced off in 4 straight playoff series from 1997 to 2000, and it was always a war. From bench-clearing brawls to Alonzo Mourning vs. Patrick Ewing matchups, the Knicks and Heat fought for Eastern Conference dominance, and every game felt personal. Number 2 has to be Bulls vs. Pistons, or as it's famously known, the Bad Boys rivalry. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Pistons had Michael Jordan's number. They employed the Jordan rules to physically wear him down, and it worked, at least for a while. Detroit beat Chicago in 3 straight playoff series before Jordan and the Bulls finally broke through in 1991, leading to their first championship. The physicality and animosity in this rivalry were unmatched. The beef between Jordan and Thomas still goes on to this day. Before we get to the greatest NBA rivalry of all time, let's take a look at a few honorable mentions that just missed the top 10. Number 6, Indiana Pacers vs Miami Heat. Overview: defined by intense playoff series in the early 2010s, with competitive games and high drama, particularly during the 2013 and 2014 Eastern Conference Finals. Number 5, Phoenix Suns vs San Antonio Spurs. In the mid-2000s, the Suns' fast-paced offense clashed with the Spurs' defensive excellence. The 2007 Western Conference semifinals featured suspensions, brawls, and tons of drama. Number 4, Philadelphia 76ers vs Toronto Raptors. This rivalry peaked with the 2019 Eastern Conference semifinals and Kawhi Leonard's iconic Game 7 buzzer beater that sent the Sixers home and the Raptors on to win the title. Number 3, Los Angeles Clippers vs Golden State Warriors. In the early 2010s, the Clippers' Lob City battled the emerging Warriors dynasty. Their playoff series in 2014 was one for the books. Number 2, Boston Celtics vs Detroit Pistons. These teams were Eastern Conference rivals throughout the late 80s, with the Bad Boys Pistons dethroning the Celtics to take control of the East. Number 1, Battle of Los Angeles vs Lakers Clippers. The Battle of Los Angeles rivalry between the Lakers and Clippers highlights the power struggle for basketball supremacy in LA. Historically, the Lakers have dominated with a storied legacy of championships, while the Clippers long played in their shadow. However, in recent years, especially with the Clippers' rise during the Lob City era and the arrival of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and LeBron in Laker Nation, the rivalry has intensified. With both teams frequently competing for playoff positioning and local bragging rights, their matchups have become marquee events in the NBA. Despite the Clippers' improvements, the Lakers' historical success keeps them as LA's top team, adding fuel to the rivalry. Finally, we've made it to the greatest NBA rivalry of all time. The Celtics vs Lakers is the most iconic rivalry in NBA history. From the 1960s battles between Bill Russell and Jerry West, to the unforgettable 1980s finals clashes with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, to the 2008 and 2010 finals matchups featuring Kobe Bryant, Paul Pierce, Pau Gasol, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett, this rivalry has defined the league. With 12 finals meetings and countless legendary moments, Celtics vs Lakers is simply unmatched. That's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments which NBA rivalry is your favorite and if you think any other rivalries should have made the list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more basketball content. See you next time.